After 300 years, a tale of romance and drama that unfolded in medieval Spain resurfaces as restoration work begins on the San Pedro Church in the city. This endeavor not only aims to restore the church's former splendor, but also unexpectedly uncovers a captivating mystery. During the excavation process, workers stumble upon two sets of human remains, which could potentially shed light on a long-debated piece of Spanish folklore. The unearthing of these mummified bodies has the potential to provide answers to questions that have lingered in the Spanish collective consciousness for centuries. To this day, tourists are drawn to the city, where the stage was set for a story that combines elements of romance, tragedy, and intrigue. The narrative originated in the early 1200s, involving the prominent Marcilla and Segura families, both influential in Teruel's social hierarchy. The prospect of a union between these two powerful clans could have been advantageous, as it might have consolidated their combined power and influence. However, complications arose when a man and a woman from these families fell in love. The crux of the matter was that one of them had fallen on hard times and was no longer wealthy. Despite societal opposition, their forbidden love persisted, and it's even believed that they managed to publicly reunite at some point. Unfortunately, the reunion did not lead to a happily ever after ending, leaving lingering questions about their ill-fated romance. Centuries before these remains were unearthed at the San Pedro Church, the Marcilla and Segura families were at the height of their dominance in Teruel. This city, located in the Aragon region of Spain, shares its home with Zaragoza. One of the protagonists in this story, Juan Martinez, also known as Diego, hailed from the Marcilla family. His childhood friend, Isabel, was a member of the Segura clan. Legend has it that Diego and Isabel were playmates during their youth, and their innocent schoolyard crush initially raised no eyebrows, given their shared social background. However, as they reached marriageable age, Diego's family faced financial difficulties, causing a decline in their once prominent status. In light of this change in circumstances, Isabel's father objected to the union, hoping to prevent his daughter from marrying into a less fortunate family. Yet Diego was undeterred and found a way to strike a deal with the Segura patriarch to secure the hand of his beloved in marriage. In a very specific turn of events, Diego approached Isabel's father, who happened to be the wealthiest man in Teruel at the time. In an unusual proposal, Diego asked for a span of 5 years to amass his own fortune, aiming to prove himself worthy of marrying Isabel. To the surprise of many, Isabel's father accepted Diego's offer. Thus, Diego left the town to embark on his journey of accumulating the promised wealth. This gentleman's agreement was considered binding. During this interval, Isabel's father secretly wished that she might find another suitor during Diego's absence. Yet Isabel remained resolute in her commitment to Diego, refusing to accept another proposal. She communicated her stance to her father through a letter, expressing her intention to remain celibate until the age of 20, allowing her time to develop skills needed for homemaking. Although Isabel's father seemed reluctant about her marrying Diego, his love for his daughter was undeniable. He acquiesced to her request, and the two patiently waited for 5 years, as per the agreement. Unfortunately, during this period, no one received any word from Diego. His lack of communication left the Segura family in a state of uncertainty. Adding to the complexity, Isabel's 20th birthday approached, marking the end of the 5-year duration. As this significant milestone neared, the Segura family felt compelled to consider other prospects for Isabel's marriage. Enter Don Pedro de Azagra, a reputable suitor from Albarracin. Heartbreakingly, on the final day of the stipulated 5 years, Isabel and Don Pedro were wed in a poignant ceremony. However, just as the wedding reached its culmination, a commotion ensued at the gates of Teruel. Guards conveyed the startling news to the Segura family. A familiar face had returned: Diego. Bearing the wealth he had promised, Diego's arrival was no less dramatic. It seemed he still harbored intentions of marrying Isabel. The question that lingered was, why had Diego not returned sooner? As it turned out, Diego's return had been slightly miscalculated. He had not factored in the day on which he initially approached Isabel's father within his 5-year timeline. However, Isabel's father had considered this detail and scheduled the wedding accordingly. Thus, Diego's arrival back in Teruel was a fraction too late, and the dramatic series of events did not end there. Determined not to give up on Isabel, Diego took a daring step. On the night following Isabel's wedding to Don Pedro, Diego clandestinely entered her bedroom. Upon awakening, she was met with Diego's plea, asking for a kiss and imploring, "Kiss me, for I am dying." This unexpected twist added another layer of complexity to the already entangled story. As Isabel had recently been married, she held steadfast to her commitment to Don Pedro de Azagra. She adamantly refused to betray her husband's trust, citing her belief that God would not condone such deceit. She implored Diego to move forward with his life. According to folklore, Isabel told Diego, "For the love of Christ, I beg you to find another and forget about me. If our love could not please God, then neither should it please me." Despite Diego's fervent pleas and his impending demise, Isabel remained steadfast in her commitment to her husband. Diego's repeated appeals for a final kiss left him desolate, and he eventually succumbed to his emotions, dying at Isabel's feet without receiving the kiss he longed for. After Diego's death, Isabel informed her new husband, Don Pedro de Azagra, of his passing, fabricating a reason for waking him. She used the opportunity to recount Diego's entrance and death. Isabel's honesty surprised Don Pedro as she pointed to Diego's lifeless body, affirming her narrative's truth. When questioned about not kissing Diego to save him, Isabel defended her fidelity. Isabel and Don Pedro's time together was brief. They discreetly buried Diego to avoid blame for his death. In a final act, Isabel wore her wedding attire to Diego's secret burial, kissing him before collapsing and joining him in death. Teruel's residents arranged a joint burial, allowing the ill-fated couple to be united for eternity. The enduring legend of the lovers of Teruel captivated generations, evolving over time. In the 16th century, restoration work on San Pedro Church led to the discovery of two bodies believed to be Isabel and Diego. Their mummified remains were displayed, solidifying their presence in history. The Lovers' Festival in Teruel commemorates their story, celebrating enduring love and marital milestones. The tale serves as a poignant reminder that stories of love, even in tragedy, can transcend time and touch the human heart. Subscribe and press the bell icon for regular updates.